We speak of the present state of the sacrament of matrimony and the institution of matrimony and family life. We have to restrict ourselves to the Western European style nations and the other countries that are affected deeply by our culture. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a declining culture. Cultures are systems of thought that lead people to understand how they must live and to keep the human race going. And the culture in the United States and in Europe and European-style countries is very weak right now because it is not protecting the basic building block of society, which is the family. Culture is dominated by what is called hedonism, a philosophy or way of thinking that a person's principal impulse is toward what is pleasurable to them. And probably the very worst example of this is when people are expendable. They can be killed for another person's convenience. And we see this in abortion, euthanasia, and this has been in Western European culture for quite some time. Probably it came into sharpest focus with Hitler, life unworthy of life. So you killed people that were in your way. And Hitler, interestingly enough, was very hostile to the family. He had no use for the family. He encouraged German girls to be impregnated by Nazi soldiers without any thought of family life, and they were to bring these children into the world. And the children were often raised in a kind of institutional setting. The Bolsheviks, because of the old Russian tradition, didn't quite try this. They acted like they wanted to, but they were afraid of the Russian peasants. The Russian peasants gave the Bolsheviks a very hard time. And in Europe, in places where the Nazis were not accepted, even in Germany, like Bavaria, this was the reason. There was no respect for the individual. When you have no respect for the individual, the only people who get what looks like respect are the powerful. Now, in the United States, at the present time, you have hedonism, the idea that my purpose in life is to have as much pleasure as I can get. So this explains why people don't get married, because they don't want to make a commitment, why the number of marriages declines. And it explains the very large number of single mothers. Right this minute, as I talk to you, I'm responsible for 65 homeless mothers and their 65 babies with the Good Counsel Homes. Chris Bell and I run this, and these girls are all victims of hedonism, that somebody wanted a very quick pleasure, sexual pleasure, with no responsibility for the girl or for the baby. And it goes one step further. They were offered, almost all of them, the opportunity of terminating the life of the baby by Planned Parenthood and other perhaps well-meaning people who don't realize that they are sowing the seeds of self-destruction for a society.